In this session, we look at the anatomy of a WordPress website. What I mean by that are the general areas that make up a website that is powered by WordPress. We're going to use three examples in this session: Social Media Power, Plum Web Solutions, and Deltina.com. Now, one thing that I typically do when I design a website using WordPress is I use a template that kind of depicts the general areas that I know I have to work with. I have a header area, a footer area, a main body area that has either my blog posts or my page content, and then I have a left sidebar and a right sidebar. And those will contain modules that will kind of make up the website but also be consistent on each of the pages. Now, I can have different variations of these general areas. Like I can have a body area over here on the left, my sidebar is both to the right. I can only have one sidebar. Let me just look at a couple of other possibilities. I can have my main body area over here and kind of one sidebar that stretches out over the rest of the page, and then two smaller sidebars underneath. Or I might choose a theme that has a main body area in the top and then has my sidebars actually underneath. They're not on the side at all, they're underneath the main body area. And these are just some examples of the types of configurations that you can make either yourself by customizing your themes or by choosing a theme that kind of fits the look and feel that you want from your site. So now let's look at some examples using some live WordPress powered websites. First of all, let's look at the headers. The header is this area up here that is typically consistent throughout all of the pages of your website. And so this is the home page. If we click on another page, we'll see that the header remains the same, but the content actually changes, or the page changes. Now, a header can contain different features like search features in this case and custom headers, or it can be as simple as just the title of your blog like this one shows and the description of your blog. This one also has a custom header. So as far as the navigation menu, we have a lot of choices there as far as how to customize that. This has just a basic menu up here on the top, and typically your navigation does show up just below your header here, but there are other options for placing your navigation, say in your sidebars. And we also saw a way to create custom menus in a previous session. So if we look at the navigation menu here, this is very different. It also has drop-down features, which is really common. And then these are just basic tabs for navigation. So you have a lot of flexibility there. Now, how your navigation is styled will depend a lot on your theme. I'm going to talk about anatomy first before I talk about themes. In the next section, we actually talk about choosing your themes. Okay, so moving on, this is the basic main content area of your site. Now, I went back to the home page on this site because I wanted to show you that by default, this area, the main area of your site, contains your recent blog posts. And you can customize this any number of ways. You can determine how many posts you have on the front page before people have to actually go to the next page. You can only show a little bit of a post and then have a read more tab here like we saw in some of the previous sessions. So you have a lot of control as to how your blog posts actually show up on your front page. But the other thing about WordPress is that you don't have to only have your blog posts on your front page. You can also have what's called a static home page. And what that means is it looks like a regular website, and that this is just the home page of your website, and it has all of your whatever information you want to show on your home page, but you go to another tab to actually show your blog posts. And I'll also show you how to do that in a subsequent session. So on the Deltina.com site, Well, notice that this also has a static home page, and that the blog is actually on a different tab, but it's not even called blog. You can give that page whatever name you want. I call it Musings because on this particular blog I only post poetry there. That's more of a personal blog than a professional blog. Okay, so now let's take a look at sidebars. The sidebars are one of the things that are really flexible in creating your WordPress website, and it can offer you a way to really customize your site to your own needs. Now, as we saw in our templates, we can have sidebars in a number of different locations. Again, that's going to depend on your theme. This Social Media Power website here, I'm going to show you the areas that actually make up the sidebars, because this one is a little bit different than just your typical column like sidebars. This whole area right in here is a sidebar in and of itself. It's just one big sidebar, but it ends right here. And then we have two more sidebars, this sidebar here and this sidebar here. Now if we pop open our template, we can see that template here with a little clearer, where we have our header, our main body area, and that one wide sidebar area, and then two smaller sidebars underneath. If we take a look at the Plum Web Solutions site, however, we don't see any sidebars right away until we actually scroll down. And then we actually see three columns in what would be considered the footer area. So again, this is how creating sidebars for your theme really gives you a lot more flexibility than you would think. And then finally, on the Deltina.com site, we just have one main sidebar, and it just goes all the way down the bottom. Now let's take a look at the footer area on our example sites. If we scroll down to the bottom on Social Media Power, we'll see that in this footer area we have copyright information, and we also have links to WordPress and to the person who created our theme. You always want to make certain that you give credit where credit is due, especially when you're using open source software. Never remove those credits. And also in this footer we have a nice little menu that just kind of reiterates our main menu. So if people decide to scroll down, they can also see our navigation. Again, if we go down to the bottom of Plum Social, its footer is a little different. It only has a copyright statement, but also it has another little area here where you can click to see the mobile version of that website. And then again, the Deltina is a very basic footer. It always gives credit to WordPress and to whoever created the theme, but also this one has a couple added things where you can additionally subscribe to the RSS feed or the comments. So now I want to talk about sidebar widgets. This again is a way for you to really customize your site to your own needs. Now a sidebar widget is an element or a module that kind of makes up or builds your sidebars. And a lot of them already come stock in WordPress, and we've discussed some of those in previous sessions, and we'll continue to discuss more of them later, especially how to create your own text widgets. But for now, let's just take a look at these. We know that this is a widget right here that is in our kind of large sidebar on Social Media Power. And what we have a few ways for people to subscribe to our blog on the top, and then we have a banner ad. So these are examples of things that you can put in and very easily actually place in your sidebars. And then here we have our other two sidebars in this site. We have just a link to the social media tip of the day. We have some social buttons here for people to find us on the other places we are in the social web. We have another little button here for people to subscribe. We have a little icon for people to click on to find the book. And we have another way for them to get our RSS feed as a nice stylish widget from Widgetbox. And then here are some what I consider kind of standard sidebar elements that automatically come with WordPress. For instance, categories. These are all the blog categories that you can click on and just get a list of all of the categories or all of the blogs that were listed under that category. And recent posts, so you can get a list of all of the recent posts for this blog. And then some other little custom widgets, and here's a search widget here. So that's to give you an idea of what we mean by sidebar widgets, and also kind of the variety of things that you can place on your sidebars. If we look over here at Plum Web Solutions, we really don't have any, remember, sidebars in the main area, but if we scroll down to the bottom, what we see are these would be considered the sidebar widgets or elements. And what these really are, they're links. They're just collections of links. And so sidebar widgets don't always have to be animated graphics. They don't always have to be graphics. They don't really always have to be blog related. But you still want to look at them as kind of individual modules that you can customize to your own needs. And then if we go over to Deltina.com, we'll see some pretty typical sidebar modules or sidebar widgets also, like a friend feed widget that we copied the code over and placed over onto our site. And we're going to have a session later on to show you how to create those types of text widgets or custom widgets. Again, we have our favorite sharing and subscribing widgets from Add to Any. We have our Facebook page, and we have some Twitter widgets, and then also some links like we saw on the bottom of Plum Web Solutions. And this concludes our session on the anatomy of a WordPress website.